So we have an announcement of a 33-man England squad, a provisional squad where 7 players won't make it to the final squad, which is announced on the 1st of June. So really with this, we've got to pick 7 players that we don't think will go through. But firstly, let's point out that I think this is really clever from Southgate. What he's now able to do is assess these players himself firsthand in an England shirt. It also gives him another week to look at the injury situations that we've got going on, Harry Maguire, Calvin Phillips. I think it was an important decision to make instead of rushing into picking your final squad, where you could then be in a really difficult situation where you've picked a player but now they can't play because of an injury, and also for him to make those final decisions to pick players that he doesn't quite know are going to go to the final squad. For example, like Ben Godfrey, Ben White. These players he's liked throughout the season in the Premier League, however in an England shirt he doesn't really know what they're going to be like. So now with this extra week, seeing them in training, it might change his mind and put them into the final squad. The goalkeepers, we find Dean Henderson, Sam Johnston, Jordan Pickford and Aaron Ramsdale. Now Nick Pope hasn't got in there because of the injury issues that he currently has. So coming in is Aaron Ramsdale, who I think in the final squad won't be there. That's one that we can agree on, but it gets harder as you get into the defenders. Let's look through the list here. Trent has been picked in the provisional squad, along with Ben Chilwell, Luke Shaw as your left backs, Connor Cody, Ben Godfrey, Harry Maguire, Mings and Stones as your centre backs, as well as all the right backs, Reece James, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker. This is where it becomes difficult, and it's going to be controversial when the final squad is announced because one of those right backs isn't going to be there. I think one of the exclusions from the final squad will be Trent, James, Trippier or Walker. Now if you have to look from recent reports, it would possibly be Trent. Now as we go through the video, I am going to predict what I think Southgate will do and the 7 players he will remove from the squad. So I'm going to go out and say Ben Godfrey and Ben White won't be there, as you're then still left with 4 centre backs, Maguire, Stones, Cody and Mings. I love what Godfrey could bring to the side, a young centre back who's hungry to play for England, can play full back as well as centre back. And Ben White at Brighton, on loan at Leeds previously, is a really exciting defender who's played centre back, full back and also in the midfield. He's really comfortable on the ball, which of course you've got to be in a Graham Potter's side. So Ben White has got used to this, a lot of possession based football, and for Southgate to bring a young defender who's really used to that already, I think is really valuable. Predicting what he will do though, even though the experience for these players would be really good, I think he's going to play it safe and leave them out. But this week that they've got now with the England squad to prove themselves as a defender to be in the final squad could be crucial in his final decision. The midfield picks, I absolutely love it. We've got Jude Bellingham in there, a 17-year-old going along to the Euros, but he fully deserves it for his performances in a Dortmund shirt. A player who was a doubt for the England squad, Jordan Henderson, he's got into this squad. What I'm really happy to see is Jesse Lingard in the provisional squad at least, but he fully deserves it for his form. I think he's a player that Gareth Southgate really likes. His great positioning, goal-scoring instinct, energy that he can bring to the side. And if I was making a prediction here for the final England squad, I think Southgate will take Jesse Lingard and James Ward-Prowse, who is in the provisional, will be left out. I've seen a lot of talk about Ward-Prowse and people wanting him to be in there because of his free kicks, which I totally understand. However, if we're talking about Southgate taking a free kick taker and a set piece taker, I think that is why Trippier's probably in there, as well as overall Gareth likes Trippier as a player, but I think that's one bonus that you get with Trippier, his free kicks, and that semi-final cannot be forgotten. Your 2 main English strikers are in there, Harry Kane and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now people are talking about why hasn't Bamford got into there, why hasn't Danny Ings got into there. The goals scored and assists that these players have got in the Premier League are only one side to why they should be in the England squad. Another reason is the traits that these players bring. Now it doesn't matter about traits for Harry Kane because he just gets in, he's the Premier League's best player this season. But for example with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a big reason why he gets in is his aerial ability. You've got to look at these scenarios as to actually how are we going to use these players, when are we going to use these players, is there any use for taking them along? And for Dominic Calvert-Lewin there's a big use for taking him along. Similarly with Ollie Watkins, he's scored a lot of goals, but what else does he really bring to the side? Well, for Villa you've seen how versatile he can be, the energy that he brings with pressing the opposition at the front, moving into wide areas and also being a creative player as well as just scoring goals. So they're the decisions that you're having to make when picking these players, and I really like that Calvert-Lewin and Ollie Watkins are in there. Ollie Watkins, however, will he be in the final squad? I'd have to say he's one of the players that I think will be dropped out. As much as I love Ollie Watkins as a player and I'd love for him to be in the Euro squad, I don't think he'll make it into the final 26. Because another option that you've got off the bench is Mason Greenwood, and he's in the provisional. Arguably, Mason Greenwood has got the best finishing ability after Harry Kane, can shoot on both feet, can play on the right, can play centre forward. That's what makes him a really good option and a unique option, and that's the reason why I think he will be in the final 26. But let's focus in more on those 7 players that are going to miss out. So I think we've confirmed that Aaron Ramsdale, Godfrey, White aren't going to be there. One of the right backs is going to miss out, and if I'm predicting what Southgate's going to do, I feel like it's going to be Trent. So that's the 4th player that I'm going to go for. In midfield, I am going to go for James Ward-Prowse. That takes the total to 5. Then you've got Ollie Watkins as the striker. I think he misses out. And then really as the midfielder, forward kind of place, you've got Jesse Lingard and Bukayo Saka as fringe players in the squad. And well, if you're adding things up here, I've already said that I think Jesse Lingard will be in the squad, so I think Bukayo Saka is probably the other player that will miss out. Which of course is really harsh on Bukayo Saka. He's been really good for Arsenal and so influential to them. But there is going to be a harsh decision made, and some, as I say, controversial decisions when it comes to this time next week. Ben Godfrey and Ben White will know there's a great chance here for them to prove why they should be in the final 26 man with Harry Maguire's fitness at the moment. There's going to be like a 1v1 battle in the training between Godfrey and White saying, no, I should be taking Maguire's place. No, I should be taking Maguire's place. And I think it's really good to have that competition between two young centre-backs for England. A lot of people are saying that it's really harsh on the players for them to get into the provisional squad and then be told that, actually, no, you're not making it into the final squad. It is harsh, but at the same time, it's fair because they've got to put up a good fight in the next week. Notable exclusions from the squad, you've got Aston Villa defender Ezri Konsa. A lot of people wanted him in the England squad, but he has missed out. You've also got Tomori, who's playing at AC Milan. I have to say, personally, I haven't seen too much of Tomori to say I think he deserves a place. So I don't think it's personally fair for me to give an opinion on him. I haven't really seen his performances for AC Milan. Ezri Konsa, though, I feel like it's a really difficult decision with him because he has been so good for Aston Villa. He's another good young defender alongside Ben Godfrey and Ben White. And when you look at the decision that's been made, Ben Godfrey and White in, Konsa out, why exactly has he made this decision? I think it really comes down to the flexibility and positioning for these players. Ezri Konsa can play centre-back and right-back, but Ben Godfrey can play left-back, right-back and centre-back. Ben White has played centre-back, right-back and even in the midfield. So there isn't really much between the three of them as to why one should be left out. There shouldn't be a massive overreaction to Konsa and Tomori being left out. Southgate addressed these two players in his press conference and did say how hard of a decision it was to make. Another player, James Maddison, he's been left out the squad, and you see Jack Grealish, Mason Mount, Phil Foden coming in over him. Southgate did address James Maddison in his press conference and said about how his injury has really affected his performances. And also one thing that he picked up on was about how he's not even been on set pieces and instead Yuri Tielemans has been taking the set pieces. That is a big factor to James Maddison's game and probably one of the reasons why he would be taken into the England squad, but he's not been taking the set pieces. If Maddison had been consistent to the end of the season, I think the decision was James Ward-Prowse or James Maddison. And that decision is completely fair. I included him in my March squad, but I didn't include him in my squad this month. So then, get in the comments and let me know the 7 players from this 33-man squad you think will be dropped out by the 1st of June. Get debating in the comments, let me know any of your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, it really helps the videos in getting found. And with some really interesting Euros content coming up on the channel, don't miss out, subscribe to Route 1. We're trying to push the number up, so if you could, it would be very much appreciated.